most impressively, she talks to everyone. And I think it must be so knackering. And she does it with such a sparkle. I mean, she's my favourite royal. I'm not just saying that. Obviously the Queen, but after the Queen, Camilla.
I'd love to know more, Rebecca, but you know her quite well.
Yeah.
What's your impression of her?
Look, I'm going to put my cards on the table. I like her, and I think, and I'm sure Kate would say the same, if you ask any royal correspondent who their favourite person to work with is, it is the Duchess of Cornwall.
Absolutely.
She's funny, she's witty, she doesn't take herself too seriously. She can see the absurdness sometimes in the situation that they find themselves in, and she'll even kind of gently tease her husband, but she's the only person that's allowed to do that. She's very loyal to him as well. And she actually quite likes the company of journalists. These are all things I didn't expect to find. I think the first time I ever really spoke to her, I was on an engagement. She kind of came up and said, "Oh, I hear you're leaving early to kind of go home and tile your bathroom." It's a true story.
Wow.
And she said, "Why isn't your husband doing it?" And I said, "Well, would you get your husband to tile the bathroom?" And I looked and went, "No, you wouldn't actually, would you?"
No.
And we laughed. And then she said, "It's so nice to see some faces I recognise, you know, that are always smiling, because you don't know how scary it is to get out of a car when you're not used to this, see all those flashbulbs. It's quite terrifying."
Am I allowed to lay my cards on the table? I think I'm Team Queen.
Queen Camilla. Are you ready for Queen Camilla, Andrew?
I am. She's now a sort of national treasure.
I want to talk about what I think, and I'm sure you agree, is the King's secret weapon, and that is his wife.
Oh, my darling Camilla, yeah. I do really love that woman, and she is such a kind, nice person. And I can't go into too much detail about her personally. Things she's done for me, but she has been so wonderful. And this attack by Harry on Camilla, I can't understand it, because I've never heard her say a bad word about Harry. She's always, she's defended him. She's always said he's a lovely boy, and now I found that in that book so spiteful, so unnecessary. She's a tremendous support to the king.
She's a lovely lady. She always looks to the cameras, always enjoys having her picture taken, always got a word or two for us photographers and reporters. So, yeah, it was lovely to see her yesterday.
Yeah, you always mention, don't you, that she's one of your favourites to photograph, because she's so lovely, and I think it's something that everyone I ever speak to in the kind of royal world always says the same, that she's really nice.
Oh, I'm going to go Camilla.
Good to see him. Yeah, I mean, that's a good show.
I'm going to go Camilla because again, we talked about this quite recently, but she would never have imagined that she would get to this place. And also, it's such a tiny moment, but that's just sort of like moving her fringe out from underneath the crown on Coronation Day of, this big grand spectacle, but actually these are real people. I think Camilla's just really defined her role. She kind of has a sense of how she wants to do it, and she's sort of unfussy in a lot of ways, just getting on and trying to support Charles, and has got her issues that she wants to get involved with.
I really like her. I think she's a great woman. But over the last 17 years or so, I think she's done a terrific job. I think that she certainly has supported the Prince of Wales as he was, the King now, ably. And really, he's a different man with her. Behind the scenes, I think when you go on the flights, on the royal flights with them, she will always come back. She knows the journalists by their first name. She'll always interact. In terms of his public relations, the King has done a terrific job. And she understands really if the photographers are looking for a picture, the King's not going to be looking to give you a picture. It's just not going to happen. But she would do things to make things happen. She realises everybody has a job to do, and she's done a terrific job, in my opinion.
She's absolutely one of my favourite people to photograph. She's got a great sense of humour, and I've really, really enjoyed photographing her for however long it's been, a long time now, travelling around the world. And again, just one thing that always stands out to me is sense of humour and a smile, and that just makes my job really enjoyable. And she was one of the few people I photographed wearing a mask where you could see her smiling over the mask, and so she'd always have a glint in her eye. The Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall, and I was itching to get back to work, and I decided against all the advice from everybody, I decided I needed to get on this royal tour. I spent the whole trip wandering around with my neck cricked at an angle, kind of looking down the camera lens. It must have looked very bizarre because I could only see out of one eye, and I think that's just the thought. I wondered what was going on, and I think it's kind of testament to her kind of caring character that she called me in to check I was okay and if there's anything she could do to help. But
well, Camilla was always the friendliest one because she's normal. I mean, she hasn't been brought up in this bubble. And I remember taking a very sort of conscious decision when I was first doing this and was first coming across Camilla. I took a conscious decision just to treat her as if she was a friend of my mother-in-law's. So my mother-in-law lives in Wiltshire, so as we're not that far from where Camilla's home is. And I just thought, well, just pretend she's one of my mother-in-law's friends. And so you treat her with some friendliness but not over familiarity, and it kind of works splendidly. And but I do remember once when Downton Abbey was a big thing, and when I wasn't writing about royals, I wrote other things. I wrote a piece about Downton Abbey. There'd been a bit of a shocking episode, some character had died, and I made a reference to this, and I did say in my story, spoiler alert, just in case you haven't seen the episode yet. Anyway, a few weeks passed, and I was on tour with Charles and Camilla in Australia, and I was doing one of the first jobs, I think it was in Queensland, and Camilla came into the room where we were, and she sort of made a slight diversion to come over to talk to me, and I said, oh, look, how nice Camilla's kind of say hello, how lovely.
She likes you.
And she came over to me and said, Valentine, you totally ruined my Downton.